Welcome, everyone. This is Recovery Dharma. My name is Julia. I'm one of the facilitators in the Spokane Sangha, and I am so happy to be here. I have this bowl of sentiments of metta. There are these little hand-painted cards that have sayings of loving kindness written on them. This is a meditation type practice that I have engaged over the years. To just help me frame my practice. And so in the Buddhist tradition, we begin a practice anytime we are stepping toward the brilliance of the three jewels. We set an intention. What is the motivation for being here today? And this is one that I'd like to share with you. This painting was also made by Sean C. And this one reads, "May my struggles become my teachers. May my struggles become my teachers." I can't even begin to tell you how much I hate the sentiment of metta. Yuck! I don't want my struggles to be my teachers. What kind of lousy teachers are they? Ugh. But nevertheless, that's what we have, right? Our struggles really are our teachers. So we have to laugh at it. We have to smile at it. Otherwise, we're just going to be weighted down by it, and that isn't much fun. For those of you who are new to the Spokane Sangha today, first of all, an extra warm welcome to all of you. There are several new faces today, and it is just a joy to have you bless this space and be a source of inspiration for me and the entire community. For the month of December, we have been exploring the concept of peace. And we've been taking it on a deep dive. And one of the things that I've been doing in this practice is I've been reading synonyms for the word peace. And my motivation is because sometimes we encounter situations and experiences in life that don't really fit our definition of peace. So we don't feel peaceful, something else happens, when in fact we could very well be peaceful. And so by introducing synonyms, we broaden the scope. We open up our minds so that we're not so narrowly fixated on this one conditioned response, this one conditioned view of what a peaceful person would look like. I remember many years ago when I first started practicing, I harbored this idea that a good meditator, a deeply spiritual meditator, was somebody who, always seemed to appear blissfully cross-legged under a perfectly blooming cherry tree with the most gentlest of breezes, with a gentle babbling brook nearby. It's such a falsity, right? And so we really have to practice being in a bus and practicing peacefully, being by a sewer, practicing peacefully. Years ago, there was some construction across the street from the sanctuary, jackhammers all day long, practicing peacefully. So many teachers, so many things to shift our perspective and wake us up and rattle our bones a little bit. So today, let me start by reading these synonyms. We're going to read 27 of them because today is December 27th. And many of you have heard these already, and that's beautiful. It'll just be a repeat. You get used to these words. And what I do is I read them in one direction and then I read them in the other direction. And I encourage you to pay attention to anything that's coming alive for you. There might even be some words that you don't know the definition of. And the impulsivity to quickly look it up is beautiful. Take a look at that. And also just notice if you can sit with it. Like, oh, I don't know what that means. Huh, would you look at that? So let's begin. And let's begin first by returning to that noble posture, finding a place in the body that feels at ease and open. Let's also infuse this moment with a spirit of celebration and joy, mudita, because we have prioritized this time for ourselves and we've prioritized this time for one another. And of all the things we could be doing today, of all the distractions tugging on our mind, tugging on our heartstrings, we have created this time and space to be here, to come into the presence of the Buddha, to come into the presence of Buddha nature as it lives in each of us, to come into the presence of wise teachings, and to come into the presence of a beautiful collective soul, this Sangha. May peace be with you in your practice. The first synonym for peace, tranquility, calm, quiet, harmony, order, concord, amity, goodwill, stillness, private, seclusion, solitude, equanimity, serenity, rest, ease, nirvana, joy, contentment, comfort, diplomatic, gentle, agreement, amnesty, stability, neutral, placid, there are so many ways of looking at the concept of peace. So many angles, so many minute perspectives and reflections. All of this to soften the heart, open the heart, soften the mind, open the mind, to see anew, to cultivate curiosity, to recognize, oh my goodness, I have created a fixed notion. And in the process of protecting that fixed notion, I have cultivated bias, prejudice. I've closed myself off, perhaps, to the wonder of looking deeply, the mystery that befriends curiosity, the surprise that's knocking on the door of joy. And we gain access to this simply by looking up different words, synonyms. You can look these words up yourself on the computer. I happen to like Thesaurus, a book. The Roget's Thesaurus is my favorite. Lo gave me a ginormous copy of it, and just the ritual of paging through it is like massaging my heart and my mind to open up to seeing anew. Let's read them again. Placid, neutral, stability, amnesty, agreement, gentle, diplomatic, comfort, contentment, joy, nirvana, ease, rest, serenity, equanimity, solitude, seclusion, private, stillness, goodwill, amity, concord, order, harmony, quiet, calm, tranquility. So many avenues to awaken to the peace within us. Remember the wisdom of Thich Nhat Hanh. There is no way to peace. Peace is the way. And the way to unlock it within us is limitless. So why do we struggle? Why do I struggle? This week, on Wednesday, we have been studying the work of Shantideva. And we've been in just the first chapter, and we have been exploring the activation and the cultivation of bodhicitta, the harmonized, awakened mind and awakened heart. And there are Shantideva talks about two kinds of bodhicitta. One is the awakened mind that is aspiring to awaken, has the desire, has the want, but maybe not enough practice, maybe not enough skill, maybe still has some attachments to habit energy, to narrow thinking, to fixations of all kinds. This is very, very, very human. And so good thing that we have the second aspect of bodhicitta, which is the engaged awakened mind. So it's very important to have an aspiration, to want to awaken, to really think about it, consider it, and then to make efforts. Wise effort, wise action, wise mindfulness, wise concentration. These are qualities on the Noble Eightfold Path that continue to encourage us. Being here is wise engagement to awaken the mind, to learn about why we are still so rooted in habit energy, not necessarily the habit energy associated with drinking or misusing substances, but the habit energy of thought and stories and belief. And so I'd like to share with you a couple of paragraphs from this wonderful book called The Path of Human Being by Dennis Genpo Mertzel. And the chapter is The Root of Our Discontent. And I think this is such a perfect illustration for the ways we get in our own way for cultivating peace. It's like we're trying to knock on our own door, and on the other side of our own door, we're locking it up. We're just too scared to open the door. And so it's a practice. Dennis writes, "Why are we so dissatisfied? Do you ever ask yourself that question? On the surface, we may think our unhappiness stems from some need or desire that hasn't yet been fulfilled. If we look no deeper, we will never stop running, trying to satisfy our endless desires. When we really look at what we think we need in order to be content, we will notice a pattern. We create a very narrow path for ourselves between what we judge as good and acceptable and what we judge as bad and intolerable. We imagine that somewhere between loving and hating the way things are, there is a nice place of satisfaction and contentment. So we aim for that ideal, even though it is a razor thin line. Every once in a while, we can feel satisfied when we manage to touch that ideal, but the experience is rare, and it never lasts very long. Most of the time, we feel dissatisfied, and we hope and believe that things could get better. The problem is our perception, the way we look at our discontentment. As long as we think that discontentment exists because something is lacking, then of course we will keep searching for a way to fill ourselves up. We will keep seeking and acquiring the next thing and the next thing and the next thing that we hope will bring us to the ideal state of contentment. But there is another way to our predicament. We don't need to create such a thin line to begin with. Instead of thinking that in order for things to be okay, they have to be this way or that. What if we accepted the way things are? What if we embraced it all? What if we decided that our struggles are teachers? Oof. What if we started labeling our aversions and our uncomfortable emotions as wise teachers? Hello, resentment. You little Albert Einstein, you. Hello, dis-ease. Maybe you're the brother of Thich Nhat Hanh, who is a teacher I revere. Hello, discouragement and disappointment. Maybe if I remember and call to mind my sisters like Frida Kahlo, Mary Oliver, I'll ignite my creativity and my poetic nature to allow me to better be with these experiences. These are creative options for looking at the reality of my life, in your lives, our lives. And perhaps by entertaining these options, they keep me centered and safe at home in my own mind and heart, where the warmth of peace is kept aglow. And maybe with that self-kindness and self-nurturance, I can bring it into the world in a state of stability and solidity, so that wherever I go, peace is every single one of my steps. Peace is the way I touch and smile. Peace is what I bring to the chaos and upheaval of my day. It is a practice, friends, and the razor-thin line is the folly of perfection. So practice is not seeking perfection. Practice makes practice. And what a joy to practice here with you. And so we'll go ahead and we'll end our practice with a dedication of merit. So we began our practice with an intention and a motivation, which is to invite our struggles to be teachers. And let's go ahead and end our practice dedicating the goodness that we've received here today. And let's call to mind our brothers and sisters out there in the world who are in jail or in prison. Let's call to mind anybody who has withdrawn and isolated and has dissociated and are lonely, maybe in their apartment, maybe in a car, maybe on the street. Let's call to mind anybody who is in the hospital, a nursing home, a rehab center, convalescing, healing. May all the goodness, all the beauty and the wonder, the peace, the positivity, the love, the compassion and joy that we have generated here, may you invite it deeply into yourself, your bones. May it live in your marrow. May it radiate like the warmth of the sun. May you bring peace into the world. And if it's only just for a moment, may you bring ease to someone who's suffering. You never know. You might have just saved a life. And at the very least, you certainly have inspired it. Thank you so much for bringing your wisdom here today, your inspiration. You certainly brighten my life. Have a great day, friends. We'll see you next time. Namaste.